My name is John Thomas. I'm a professional speaker, motivational speaker, marketing and advertising consultant, and project manager from Abilene, Texas. To give you a little information about myself, I'm 39 years old and I've done a variety of things. I've done everything from selling copy machines door to door to running a telemarketing room, both in San Angelo and San Antonio. I've also been a manager at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I've worked at Creative Graphic Solutions, where I started as outside sales and worked my way up into owning part of the company and then eventually selling my part of the company. At heart, I'm really an entrepreneur. I love to speak, I love to get up, I love to talk to people and motivate people. One of the main things that I tend to talk about is overcoming obstacles. I like in my speeches to use everyday scenarios that have happened to me. I think that's the best way. When you get up and you're talking to somebody, you don't want to have your eyes glazed over. You don't want to be bored. You don't want to be sitting there looking at your clock. You want to be entertained. And that's what I really try and do in each of my speeches. I try and entertain. I try and not only teach whatever topic I'm talking about, but I try and use stories that have happened to me during my life. You know, whether they're talking about my overcoming obstacles or whether they're talking about my decision-making abilities. These are things that I really try and portray. Now, like I said, I live in Abilene, Texas. I have a fiance, and we have 3 children. I have, unfortunately, lost several members of my family, which really ties into a lot of my speaking engagements. I have lost my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my 6-year-old son, and my wife of 10 years. So I tend to bring those experiences into my speeches. I try and tie it all together, and I try and teach people to live each day as if there is no tomorrow, because in reality, we're not ever guaranteed that there is a tomorrow. So if you need a speaker that is motivational, that is entertaining, that won't hold any punches back and tell it to you like it is, give me a call. Please feel free to check out my website, www.nopodiumneeded.com. Hello, my name is John Thomas. No podium needed. I'm a motivational speaker. To give you a general idea of some of the speeches I give, we'll just name a few for you. One is Overcoming Obstacles. Overcoming Obstacles talks about the different obstacles that I've incurred during my life, whether it's talking about my dwarfism, whether it's talking about the losses of my wife and my son, or whether it's talking about how I dealt with dealing with dating or going out and finding a job, financial, all of those things, all of those obstacles that we deal with every day in life. This is what that speech is about. And not only that, I try and tie my personal stuff into what you're dealing with on an everyday occurrence. Because we all know that everybody is overcoming obstacles each and every day. So just because I've had some hardships doesn't mean you haven't had them. So I try and make this to where I try and teach you how to work on overcoming those obstacles, whether they're in your personal life or whether they're in your business life. That's one of the speeches I give. Another one is called Getting Off the Fence. It's really about making decisions. It's about being that type of person who doesn't sit and waver back and forth. In today's world, managers, too many managers are doing that. Too many managers sit and they procrastinate and they wait and, they want to get as much information as possible. Always you want to get as much information as possible, but this is not really something you want to drag out. You need to be that type of person who can stand up, make a decision. If you're wrong, fine, admit it, fix it, and move on. That's another one of my speeches. One of my favorite speeches is called Head and Shoulders Below the Crowd. At 4'8", I'm always below the crowd. But that doesn't mean when I walk into a room that people don't know who I am. They don't necessarily know who I am because of my height. Now, I may use that to my advantage, but I also stand up. I also go and I network and I talk to people, and I make sure that they have a reason to remember me. That also goes into another speech of working a room. When you walk in, are you scared? Are you afraid? Are you looking around to see who am I going to talk to first? Where do I go? Who is that first initial contact? Are you just looking for your friends to talk to? Your friends already know who you are. Your friends already know what you can do. When I walk into a room, the first person I want to talk to is somebody I've never seen, somebody I've never met. And I talk about that in the speech, and I talk about how it is I make that first impression and how it is that I also make that last impression. Because when they go home that night, when they're driving from that event to their home, I want them to go back in their mind, and I want them to think about all these different people they met and all the things that happened during this event. And I want them to look and go, well, yeah, maybe they remember that short guy, but they also remembered some of the stuff he told, some of the things he talked about. Two of the other speeches that I give, one is on giving back. I'm a firm believer on giving back to the community. I believe that every person should be a member of a personal civic organization as well as a business organization. In my case, I've been blessed and I was part of the Kiwanis Club of Abilene, but I also became involved in the American Advertising Federation, trying to give back to my profession. I was fortunate. I was also elected as AAF governor, and I've had a blast during that. It's something I've truly enjoyed, and I feel like that I have done something. I have given back. I also started a foundation, the Joseph Thomas Foundation, in memory of my son who passed away at the age of 6. I could have sat back. I could have let that define who I am. But instead, I decided to start this foundation and let that foundation define who not only I am, but who Joseph was. These are things that we talk about in the Giving Back presentation. The last speech I'll tell you about, it's called Who's Your Mama? I know you're looking at me and thinking, wow, you have some interesting names for your speeches. But this one's talking about promoting. It's talking about promoting your business as well as promoting yourself. And let's face it, who promotes you better than anyone else? It's your mom. Some cases it's your father, but in most it's your mom. So if we can just take some simple pointers, some simple lessons that our moms use when they promote us, when they talk about, oh, I'm so proud of John, he's become a great man, he's a good speaker, he raises his children right, he goes to church, he does all of those things. And when we think about how much mom talks about us and how proud of us she is, you know, that's the same way that we should be promoting our businesses and ourselves. We should be that proud. We should be able to say, I have accomplished these things. I have done these things. My company does this better than anybody else. Is it egotistical? Yes. But in today's society where business is tough, you have to distinguish yourself. So take some lessons from mom. How do you promote yourself, and how do you promote your business? These are just a few of the speeches that I give. I also do a lot of tailor-made speeches, a lot of breakout sessions on specific topics that people have. I've spent 15 years in marketing and advertising. I still do a lot of consulting work. But really, speaking is my passion. And if I can teach you or your crowd or anyone in your organization how to maybe do just a little bit better, to promote themselves just a little bit better, or to be a little bit motivated, or to live each and every day to its fullest, then I've done my job. It doesn't matter if there's 100 people or 1,000 people in the audience. My goal is to touch one person. That's really it. If I can touch one person in each of those speeches, I really feel like I've done my job. Now, if I can touch all 1,000 of them, even better. So if you need somebody for your next speech, your next organization event, you need some consulting work, let me know. I'll be glad to help you. My personal website, nopodiumneeded.com. Thank you and have a great day.